Welcome back to Midnight Movie Review. Um, Obviously, I'm not Misha, but I'm doing the intro this week because Misha couldn't make it. This week we watched The Dictator, and we have a guest this week, and here he is to introduce himself.
Yo, 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 it's Colby in the lobby.
So, Colby, what's your taste in movies? What kind of movies do you like?
Well, I wouldn't call myself an eccentric kind of guy, but I sort of like that subtle comedy. No, I'm just kidding. I picked this movie because it was outright hilarious, and I have seen no movie quite like this one.
Yeah,
And
it's a very unique movie.
Not even
Yeah.
Borat.
I appreciate it.
I mean,
Okay, hold up, what was that?
Like not even
yeah,
Borat. Like I feel like
Borat's
Borat's
pretty
like.
No, I've seen movies like it before. I've seen no actors like that before.
Oh yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, this is different than Borat.
Yeah, for
Borat
sure.
was more impromptu. I guess this was more
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
absurd.
Could you give us a little summary of the movie, sort of, to get us?
Yeah, okay, when the UN threatens the nuclear program of the Republic of Wadiya, the dictator, Hafez al-Assad, decides to go to New York to make a speech in the assembly. However, his minister Tamir is plotting a scheme to topple al-Assad and sign multi-millionaire contracts with foreign oil companies to make him a tycoon. Tamir hires the torturer Clayton to kill al-Assad, but he fails, and the dictator flees without his long beard. Aladdin unsuccessfully tries to reach the Lancaster Hotel and meets the owner of the store of natural products, Zoe, who is protesting against the presence of Aladdin in the UN. She believes that he is a refugee from Wadiya and brings Aladdin to the store to help him cater to the hotel. He stays with her while he tries to find a means to break in the hotel with his comrade Nadal. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, Adam, can you give us the first question?
Sure. So I just want to get a general opinion from all of you guys. How did you feel about the movie?
It was honestly pretty hilarious. It was kind of you didn't have a deep plot at all, but it was just a movie solely based off of comedy, and it was just a simple movie, not too thought heavy like some of the other ones we've seen, but it was great for a good laugh. I would say.
Yeah. So I think that with the movie rating scale we usually do, it's not really built for this type of movie. But this is our first comedy movie, and I feel like it needs to be rated differently. So yeah, it's a different kind of good. You know, like Luke said, there's no deep plot or characters or anything, but it's hilarious. It's really outrageous and funny, and it's just good. It's a very enjoyable movie. Colby, what do you think?
Well, I would say it's more of like a Jackson Pollock painting, but like on acid.
Yeah.
It sort of is like the structural, or just it's sort of sculpted with the craftsmanship of that of a first grader with learning disabilities. It is, in other words, it is literally the best movie ever. I loved it.
All right.
Yeah. This was a really good comedy. Like, sometimes comedy get it wrong with like kind of the jokes they make or like the plot, but I thought this movie did really well in terms of a comedy, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd agree. All right, so now let's move on to characters and acting. What do you guys think about the characters and acting in this movie?
Well, first of all, let's just address the elephant in the room. Sacha Baron Cohen. He's probably the best choice for this, honestly. It's absurd. He's Borat. He's he's done a couple of those movies, but I say that it really fit the role.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
I also liked, of course, the role of Aladdin was excellent, but I also loved the character of Zoe because you kind of had that super sharp contrast in political beliefs, and it was just really that really added, I think, to the comedy of the movie. I thought Zoe was played pretty well as well because it just added to that comedy.
I'm gonna hard disagree with Luke here. Well, I
Yeah.
do believe
Oh,
that
really?
Aladdin was played beautifully. I think that Zoe's
He was.
character was like very cringe in every single scene she was in, and like
I think- I
it
think-
made me want to die. Like the acting was like
think it
pretty
was-
bad, and I think I was having a conversation with Misha earlier. He
Yeah.
was like, "Well, what if the acting was supposed to be bad? What if that was like the part of the movie?"
That's
you know?
what I'm saying.
Huh.
I'm saying her character, in my opinion, was also cringe.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, very
like
cringe.
but I think she was meant to be like that. She was meant to be the polar opposite of Aladdin, and I think she was. Even if she was a little bit cringy, I think I personally thought it worked, but yeah.
Yeah,
I can respect that opinion, I guess.
I think having like a polar opposite, like you said, that's definitely a good idea, but
Yeah.
just like I don't know, like maybe like it was acted poorly for like comedic effect, but I don't feel that works for me. Maybe it does for some people, but I mean I think the character was like fine, but like the actress just didn't do a good job, and if that was purposeful, then like that's fine, but it just I didn't like it. I
okay.
didn't like her
Well,
character, not the movie. The movie's great.
Yeah, well, as you said, it is for contrast, and contrast makes the foreground of the image pop out. And I say that this totally applied to this movie. It was beautifully done.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah.
I thought, obviously Aladdin, he was the star of the show. I thought, like my favorite of the side characters, I really liked the double for Aladdin.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was a really good guy for like comedic effect. I really liked his role. But obviously Aladdin, star of the show, he was played really well.
And I think the scientist guy that that Aladdin was like supposedly he executed, I think that he was a really good character as well. He was played great. Yeah, like the camaraderie between the two brought like some of the best scenes in the movie. Like again, the helicopter scene, the funeral scene. You know, those are just my favorites.
Oh yeah, the helicopter
Yeah.
one, like that was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite comedy scenes. Like
Yeah,
that
definitely.
was
Yeah.
just complete gold right there. That
Yeah.
was yeah.
Yeah, like this movie reminds me a lot of like the movie Four Lions. It's sort of about like Middle Eastern culture, and like it's like a comedy, and it's like sort of about like four guys, they're like suicide bombers, but like it's a comedy, and I don't know, like this just reminded me of that movie in a lot of ways. So if you like this movie, check that one out.
Oh man.
Yeah, this movie was interesting, and so like honestly, I feel like Aladdin's character, well, he like there really was no deep characters in this movie. The
Totally.
characters like they changed, there was growth, but like it wasn't like deep growth. It was kind of like more surface level stuff. It was like, oh, Aladdin, he wants to have a democracy now, and so like that was, I mean, it works for the comedy. So that's why like I like this movie, but like reviewing it like as like an actual like movie like critic, which I'm not, but I'm trying to pretend to be. Like that's just a no. The characters in this movie are pretty bad. They're like stereotypical. Like you know they're not like unique really. When I think like the stereotypicalness that does give it like good comedic effect. Like there's
Yeah,
really
this-
good comedic effect. It's just like the characters they're just not great, and I think that's fine. That's fine for this
Yeah.
movie.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
thought-
kinda hard to judge.
okay.
It's kind of hard to judge this movie on like sort of our typical characters. I
Yeah.
mean, like, they obviously worked well for this type of movie. If this was like more of a serious movie, obviously these characters would be like docked back a little bit because
Oh,
they
yeah.
did not work in a more serious setting.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought the stereotypicalness, I thought that was, I mean, that's probably, like, I don't know, there's probably a really good comedic
yeah,
effect.
yeah, that's
in
what I
that,
was saying. It was good for the
Yeah.
comedy, but like the characters
Yeah.
didn't feel like super like deep or like
unique.
interesting.
You mean? I mean, no, definitely not deep or interesting characters. It was
Yeah.
just
Well-
they were there and they served the purpose of comedy very well. I would
Okay,
say.
wait. I'm gonna retract that statement a little bit. They were interesting characters. I was super
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
But like the character, like the like as like sort of textbook characters, like ooh, it's really cool what the writers did with that guy there. You know, it's not
Oh,
not
yeah,
like
no,
that.
no.
But like yeah,
Oh, that's not
yeah.
typically. I don't typically expect that from comedy movies like this. Like this was a full-blown comedy movie, and you're not usually
Yeah.
gonna have that. So,
Like we talk a lot
I
about
mean,
purpose in Midnight Movie Reviews. I feel like pretty much for every episode, and the purpose of this movie was comedy. So it didn't need to like check off the box of having amazing characters. It did what it set out to do. So I feel like having not deep characters and you know it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Adam, let's go to the next question.
All right. So on to dialogue. What did you guys think about the dialogue of this movie?
absolutely hilarious.
For sure.
You didn't have any deep dialogue, like we were saying before, like no deep characters, no deep dialogue, but it was just comedic, and I mean, I feel like there were some parts that might have offended other people, and I've seen many people saying, "Oh, this movie is super offensive," but like, I mean, there's obviously with this type of comedy movie, there's always gonna be people that get offended. But I'm personally, I mean, I don't find it. It's just comedy. It's just hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Like why?
Yeah, so
Go on, Colby.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, the offensiveness is just it's what makes this movie great because
Exactly.
it doesn't
Exactly.
yeah, it doesn't really constrain itself. It's free.
Yeah. Like what?
And
what,
if they put a limit, like if you're gonna go, you kind of gotta go all out with this type of thing. Like, you can't just be only partially like stereotypical with these like jokes and stuff. Like, you kind of just have to go full out with the comedy, and I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry. Go on.
if you sorry, no, it's fine. If you've seen Sacha Baron Cohen, he does not
Yeah.
stop until it gets to be illegal. And then some.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I read somewhere that like while forming for the original Borat movie, he got arrested like 97 times, or like the cops were called on him 97 times because people were like, "Ooh, that looks illegal," you know, and like it wasn't like an elaborate filming thing, so they didn't really see cameras. But like one of the reasons why I love Sacha Baron Cohen is because he's not afraid to do like real like crazy out there comedy. You know, like this like obviously his movies could like be like get into like a political mess or like offend people, but he's just not afraid. He has a great sense of humor and he expresses it in a good way. Like,
And I know a lot of comedy movies have gone downhill because they've given into like political correctness and stuff. I don't want to get too deep into that because then I'll start going on a rant. But like, I mean, I thought Sacha Baron Cohen did a very good job of this.
Like, I know this isn't a Borat review, but one of the reasons I disliked Borat 2 was because I feel like he was, you know, giving into the political correctness sort of thing.
Yeah, and of course that's because our society is changing. That was a recent modern day, and this was made even 8 years prior. This was made in 2012. It just wasn't quite as there weren't quite as many movies having to give in to this political correctness, but there was I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with Adam. Borat 2 is just. I mean, I loved it. It was great, but yeah, it really conformed to that
Yeah.
political correctness thing. But that one scene with Mike Pence, that was.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
was
That actually literally happened.
good.
That was. There's videos online of like the real thing. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And then the Giuliani thing, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like he's crazy. And he literally spent like 2 weeks with those guys, those rednecks. Like,
Yeah.
and he,
Right.
if I've seen some interviews.
Yeah.
He literally had to pretend to not be filming.
All right. We're done talking about Borat 2,
Yeah.
guys.
So
But
general.
we were supposed to be talking about dialogue here. We're not even talking about
Yeah,
I mean,
dialogue.
overall though, we all think Sacha Baron Cohen did a great job of not holding back, not giving into political correctness all in the media and stuff, and just producing some great comedy.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I
the
feel like
comedy is-
there's like different kinds of comedy. There's like the visual comedy, and this movie had some of that, but it was mostly like dialogue comedy. You know, it was like their characters' lines like going back and forth.
Yeah, like.
comedies are made with like great dialogue. Like obviously this dialogue was very good, like from a comedic standpoint. It was like great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The- the
I like that these days.
I mean, what do you guys? I had a little like side question to ask. So there wasn't a whole like I didn't think there was a great flow to this movie like with plot, and I didn't really expect that. But it kind of just cut from scene to scene and joke to
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
But how? What do you guys think that helped the movie, or do you think that the movie would have benefited from a more like tied together plot?
I mean, I see what you mean. Like at the beginning, it was like jumping, you know, back in like
Yeah.
different
Mhm.
scenes in like a matter of like seconds. But it eventually did slow down a bit where scenes were longer. But I feel like for a comedy movie, having those like quick cuts and like short scenes adds to the comedic effect. So I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel like a comedy doesn't have to have like an amazing plot. It just has to be funny enough and have just enough plot to make it a good movie.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you have no plot, then the comedy just means nothing because there's no context. But but I think there
but
was
this
enough.
movie-
There wasn't too much of a plot, but I think, like you guys said, there was enough of a plot to make it a good comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really need a plot. I guess the whole point of the movie is just not to have a plot. Like, you know, not to have too much of a plot, I guess. It's all comedy. All of it.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next question. Visual effects. I'll start us out on this one. I don't know how much of a budget this movie was given, but the visual effects at some points were pretty bad. I think that regardless of what movie, you should have good visual effects. So I feel like, you know, maybe I mean, I don't know. Like, it's always hard to kind of like say, oh, bad special effects because you don't know like what they could do with their budget. But like, I mean, there were some shots that were kind of cringy. So like, they could have done a better job on that. What do you guys think?
Adam, what shots? Like, I mean,
Like
I
his-
don't like remember too. I didn't really pay attention because I don't think there were too many visual effects, like you said. But like,
Yeah.
what were some scenes that were like that?
So,
Just
like,
curious.
Noticeably in the beginning, like during his like speech at the beginning, like you could see, you know, like not like the green screen, but like there was obviously like some lighting differences with him in the
okay.
background. You could just tell that like he wasn't actually there. So yeah, there's that. There's the zipline scene, which that's always hard, but I mean, yeah, there wasn't a lot, so I feel like they could have done better for the few scenes that needed it.
All right, yeah. So I just looked at it. It's actually 65 million. Yeah, that was their budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I'm, I guess I'm not sure where that went. Like it was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would need $65 million in this movie. You know?
Is it possible to put money in the dialogue without like?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's where it went probably. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
honestly,
mean,
these visuals aren't like the movie we watched last week, Interstellar, which
Oh, yeah.
in my opinion had like the greatest visuals I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
obviously not Interstellar level quality, but
Yeah,
I didn't really see as much of those mistakes as Cousin was, or Adam, sorry.
Yeah, we are
um,
cousins, by the
yeah,
way.
we
I don't know if we
totally-
mentioned that before.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't really notice it because I wasn't really looking for it because I was just really just in for the ride of this great comedy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
great. It's great.
I
not
wasn't
really a visual
expecting.
movie.
I
No,
wasn't
you can go.
expecting to be I wasn't expecting like Interstellar or like Blade Runner to be
Yeah.
like wowed with visual effects like that. It just like it made your eyes pop out. But this, I mean, it was definitely below average visual effects.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would have been nice, I think, and it would have added a bit to the comedy to make it seem more realistic. But it wasn't like it didn't make it like a terrible movie
No,
or
for
anything.
sure. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
subtract that much. Like, this isn't like I know we're talking about a ton of different movies right now because for some reason we can't stay on topic, but like Blade Runner and Interstellar, they're both very immersive movies, but this movie isn't an immersive movie. It's a very different movie. It's a comedy movie. It's meant to be like, watched with friends, people who laugh along with you, who will enjoy it with you. You're not gonna be like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Ooh, look at those visuals. I'm actually there. Like it's not meant to be like that. It isn't like that. But I feel like being at least looking realistic, maybe not amazing or beautiful, but looking realistic should be a given for visual effects, at least in this day and age. Like,
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like the perfect sleepover movie, I would say.
yeah.
I guess the whole point of the movie wasn't really to entice you with visual effects. I think it's really meant to keep your attention via, just sound.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
would say
for sure.
that is probably what makes this movie good,
Yeah.
or that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah, and I know we don't have a question about this, so I'll just talk about it now. The music in this movie just like fit the vibe so well.
Oh, for sure.
Like
For sure.
I don't know what song it is. I'm sure they made it for this movie because Aladdin was in the lyrics, but the one where he's like the song that plays when he's like walking on the camel, like right when they get to
yeah,
America.
I love that.
Yeah, that was a good sequence for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the music where he was, I think it was near the end with him and Zoe, like it was like the, I don't exactly remember what it was, but like, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Like when he rips up the Constitution.
No. It was like, I don't know. I just remembered something with him and. Okay.
All right.
I don't exactly
Well,
know, but
we'll get back to that. Colby,
Yeah.
how do you feel about this one?
Oh, about the music?
Yeah.
Oh my god. The music was perfect. It couldn't have been better. I say that this outweighed any of the visuals or any of, I guess
Yeah.
that's where all the budget went.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that outweighed the visuals. Like I know we've been crapping on the visuals for a while now, but it's not that big of a deal, especially like since the purpose of this movie wasn't like to be stunning visually.
Yeah.
I think like it definitely outweighed by many other things, including music.
I guess even the idea is just more stunning though.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love this.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, what are
Yeah.
you thinking in terms of pacing?
Nick said the question. That's illegal.
Oh, I said
How
a
could you?
question.
How could you? All right, so yeah,
Pacing. I think the pacing was pretty on point. Like, I mean, it was a pretty short movie. But obviously with a comedy movie, I'm not expecting any long movie. But I thought it was fine. The beginning I thought moved a little bit fast, but other than that, the pacing was pretty good, I think.
yeah. I mean, we already basically talked about this, but
Yeah,
it was
comedy.
paced perfectly for being this movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like comedies are kind of really excused from like
Everything. They're
constraints.
excused from everything on this list, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah,
We're just
Just not
making
the confused
excuses for
critics,
an hour.
because it's a comedy. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, the pacing was fine. I never noticed anything like too slow or too fast, but like, because I wasn't really looking for it. Because with comedies, you just don't really need to.
Yeah, we've got another comedy next week, boys. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll
Yeah,
talk
but,
about
like,
that
it's
later. Yeah. So, we already kind of talked about this one a bit too, but let's move on to plot structure. How do you guys feel about plot structure?
Well, I feel like the plot is more. You know what? I guess the plot just adds to the comedy. It's not really meant to be a plot.
Yeah.
Plot.
Yeah, like it's not
I think
it's not a plot like Colby said, but this is like more about like the structure of the plot. Like I think the structure of the plot was amazing, you know, like how they kind of like zoom through like the history of like General Aladdin and all that in the beginning. That was done really well, and how like they told some of the story through like news snippets and stuff. And I don't know, I just thought it was structured really well.
I think with this movie, it was kind of the plot was structured around the comedy rather
Yeah.
than the comedy being structured with the plot. So
Yeah.
that may have been why the plot sometimes didn't make like oh, why are they on a helicopter now, like, or stuff like that. Like, I mean, it kind of jumped a little bit at points, but
Yeah, like I get what you're saying. Like I feel like they kind of like I have no like grounds to believe this like factually, but I'm 90% sure that they like came up with like some of the scenes in this movie, like the helicopter scene. And they're like, how can we make a movie out of this? You know?
yeah, honestly, like
and it
that's
worked
why,
out well.
like I said, like the plot being structured around the comedy doesn't always make for the smoothest plot. And I mean, I think the plot could have been a little bit better, and I'd like to see that, but I don't think it took away from the movie. I'll admit it took away from the movie a little bit, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
I think it worked decently.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought there were obviously a couple like little spots where you were left a little bit confused. Like at the end, it was kind of it was a bit corny that like he decided to actually make Wadia like a democracy instead of keeping him as a dictator. But obviously it's made for comedy, so obviously it's not there to have like good quality. I mean, it's a good quality plot, but not in the ways like how we've watched movies before, like previously. Yeah.
I understand.
Mhm.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Excellent commentary.
This is gonna be yeah. Our commentary is really on point here. It's different. Yeah. Everyone says yeah. All right. So this is gonna be a really interesting one. Cinematography. So cinematography. I'll start here, I guess. So this movie, and again, this is not the point of the movie at all. It's not meant to have amazing cinematography, but like there's so many movies that are just like so unbelievably bland when it comes to cinematography. Like it's like they literally just position the camera like wherever and then like just do whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine, and like that's all the shots in the movie. That's this movie. It's not there's nothing here cinematography wise. Like so many movies are like this. Like it's like literally 10% or less that really like stand out when it comes to cinematography, and this movie just was not one of them. I know we've had like a lot of really good cinematography movies so far, but this is just no. Just no.
Yeah, I can do a hard agree with you, Adam, because for example, on the helicopter scene, I noticed a couple times the camera kind of zoomed into their mouths when they were speaking.
No, that part was
what?
fine. It was because it was like supposed to emphasize the words, you know.
I just don't think that I don't know about that.
I mean that added to the comedy there. That was good. That was good.
I don't know.
Like more of what I'm talking about is like it's not like they're not like it's just like it's complete like it's subpar cinematography, but you know, again that's fine. That's not the purpose of this movie, and we're gonna say that for basically every point in this video.
I will say though,
everything.
That one scene, the one baby delivery scene, I mean, that camera angle is pretty great.
Yeah, there's another special effects shot that needs a bit of work.
That's for sure.
it was bad, but funny.
Yeah.
No, it was beautiful.
all right.
Yeah. Obviously, cinematography was pretty poor, but
yeah,
I've said a billion times this video doesn't have to be good. It's comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that this video is just making excuses for this movie because we love this movie, but like everything we rate movies on here in this podcast is just like not related at all. I think after this video we're gonna need to develop like a comedy movie.
Or
scale.
like a comedy like scale, like
that's literally what I said.
Scale. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here's gonna be a real good one on to symbolism and themes. Oh man.
Symbolism and themes. Wow.
I could write a whole paper on this.
All right.
In fact, I will write a whole paper on this.
All right, right now, let's do it.
All right. You can go first, Adam.
All right. We'll give you time to write your paper. So,
All right.
So Colby will probably disagree with this, but I did not see any symbolism or themes in this movie. It's just comedy, like that is it. It's a very enjoyable, fun movie. It's a good movie, but like it's just not the point. We've said that 50 times now. Like this is such a boring episode, but like it's a good movie. I don't know how to explain that. Like, alright. Anyone else have anything else to say?
I mean, the only thing I could really see is just kind of like opposites somehow attract.
Yeah.
Like, because Zoe and Aladdin, they come from like infinitely different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So just because she's totally against like dictatorship and all that stuff, and obviously Aladdin, he's the dictator.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing I can pull like symbolism or theme on.
Ooh, all right, guys.
I mean, hey.
I figured out the theme of this movie. The theme of the movie is comedy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of the movie, and
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
There we go.
You
found a theme.
Yeah, but anyway, what Nick was saying, yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know if I don't know if I would consider that a theme, really. I guess kind of like
yeah.
maybe to kind of maybe between that relationship between Aladdin and Zoe being your kind of like anti-dictator, like feminist kind of, and then you had Aladdin, like the harsh dictator who.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of pushed the theme, in my opinion, maybe to just subtly, just to kind of accept differences in others, and kind of, I mean, like everything else in this movie kind of went against that, but that's because it's comedy, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But maybe that was a little bit of a theme, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, like I mean, like I just
Probably an unintentional one.
Yeah, I 100%, like, yeah, like Luke said, it might be accidental, but I 100% am sure that they did not sit down and like, okay, how can we work in some symbolism or some themes into this movie? They're like, okay, funny joke, and that's great, that's not a bad thing. All right, now Colby, let's have your essay that you were prepared on the symbolism and themes in this movie.
Well, all right, so I don't have an essay. I thought I went over this. I'm sorry, I disappointed you, but
how could you, Colby?
I just have a few words. All right, I have a few words.
Speak your words.
This movie was actually deeper than a lot of the movies that you think are, have a lot of meaning, because like it's hidden. It's like all too real. If you haven't noticed, think about that one scene where he was signing that Constitution, all right? And remember when he was, bashing on democracy?
Yes.
That was one of the major points of that theme. I think you can find a lot of meaning in that.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could pull it up right now, but
yeah. You know what, Colby? You completely changed my mind. This movie is a masterpiece in symbolism.
Of course. All right,
themes.
good.
Yeah.
I'm glad
sure.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
I actually did have something prepared, but it literally just decided that it didn't want to live anymore.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, computer is good. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It literally, I had it up, and then it just got deleted when it shut down.
Good job. For those audience members watching, Colby had some computer issues, but we are back now. All right. So, on to the next question. Just can we get a general opinion of Sacha Baron Cohen from everybody?
Oh, and if anyone's confused, that is Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the perfect guy to be played in this movie. He's just I don't know, this was actually I don't think I've seen any other movies with him in it. I haven't seen Borat at all,
Treason.
1 or 2. Yeah, so I thought he did an amazing job. I really don't know what else to say, but What do you say?
Aladdin will now have you executed because you have not watched Borat.
No, I mean, overall, I thought that that Sacha Baron Cohen did a very Aladdin job of playing his part. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Aladdin.
No, actually, Luke, I disagree with you there.
Yeah.
He did a very Aladdin job, for sure. And I think that
No.
the fact that you say he made an Aladdin job, that's terrible, Luke. How could you? He was amazing.
We're gonna have to save this debate for another day, Adam.
All right. Colby, what do you think about Sacha Baron Cohen?
Just one thing. I know I don't want to add to this, but I have to. Aladdin with your statement. All right, and moving on.
All right.
Sacha Baron Cohen is probably he is one of my favorite actors. He's the best for this. Just all around absurd guy. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really funny actor. This is unfortunately, like Luke, I have not seen Borat.
What?
But because of this, I'm
Guys.
totally excited to watch Borat sometime.
Oh yeah, Borat's I like this movie, but Borat's even better.
Wait,
definitely.
isn't Borat kind of just impromptu? Like they just walk up to people who don't even know they're being filmed, and they
No. It's like a story about Borat, but there's actual people in the background. You know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all generic. Sorry, it's all genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Unique.
like this movie was great, but Borat was like so much better. Borat's like the best
Mm.
comedy movie of all time, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
We might review
yeah.
that maybe.
I mean,
we
Sacha
will
Baron
review it.
Cohen. I think he's really a unique guy, and he gives off a unique vibe. I don't think
Yeah.
it could be played by just like your average Joe. You gotta have someone a little bit out there, and I think he did a really good job.
Yeah,
This was yeah.
I've done a bit of meditating on the characters bit from the beginning, and I think that the character of Aladdin is not the character of Aladdin. There is no Aladdin. The character is Sacha Baron Cohen himself. You know, he's such an amazing character. He's so funny. He's the funniest person I know for sure. And like I love his movies, and I love how, like, you know, he does not shy away from humor that may be interpreted as offensive. I think that, you know, he's just great. He's just great.
Yeah, I mean, he's not afraid to put his own humor out there
Yeah.
and be himself. Like, it's,
Mhm.
I think that's great. He doesn't, again, like, he doesn't give in to society, he doesn't give in to any of the political correctness and stuff. But yeah, he did. I think this is, I don't know. He's really the only guy that would have made the movie the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. He's so iconic. He can not be played by anyone else, for sure.
Yeah, but he's also like he's really good at staying in character.
Yeah.
If you've seen some of the interviews, they're picking for the support role for Borat. You two didn't see Borat 2, I assume, because you haven't seen Borat. But
Yeah.
what was her name? What was the girl's name?
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, she was. They literally had to. Well, they picked her because she could stay in a room for 3 hours and convince people that that character exists. That she had to do that in order to be in the movies, and like that just goes to show how committed he is to that role.
Right.
And like, you know, he should just. He's the best.
Yeah. One. All right. So now, our next question, our next question is going to be, comedy. This question is a bit hard to explain. So this movie, as we've talked about, is a bit of a particular kind of comedy. It's more like, it's not necessarily dark humor, but like more like politically driven humor. What kind of humor do you guys like, and like how does this movie, you know, fit with that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this type of humor. Like, I was laughing at a bunch of these parts because I really thought it was funny. It kind of like what we said earlier. It didn't seem offensive to me. I really enjoyed this humor. I mean, we kind of talked about this a lot earlier, but
Yeah.
so I don't really know what to say. But yeah, I thought I really enjoyed this humor.
And I mean, yeah, I agree with you. This is probably, I mean, this is a really good type of humor in my opinion. It is used a lot, I will say, but
Okay, you go
it
on.
kind
I'll
of
talk
is,
about
like-
that in a minute.
okay, but I mean, some may disagree, but I mean, I don't know, like cultural stereotypes. It really just like adds to a movie. It's just so funny.
All right, so, honestly, to me, like, political humor sort of thing that
political,
this is.
yeah, that's.
I don't know if that's really the correct way to categorize this, but
Yeah,
that
we'll
sort
just
of
say
thing.
that.
It's a very niche sort of humor, you know. It's not a lot of people really enjoy this sort of humor. Obviously, all of us do, but I don't know. I just feel like so, I went to a movie once, like a year or two ago, with a couple of friends, The Good Boys, that was like purely like dry sexual humor. It was just like it was so bad. Like that it's like that type of humor, or like relatable humor, like that sort of thing.
Oh God.
Like those are so overused, and I feel like this is more of like
Yeah.
like you really don't see this sort of humor that much, especially in like $65 million movies. You see it like in internet posts or wherever, but like it's really special when you can get something like this onto the big screen, or even like a TV show. It's very, you just don't, you don't see this every day.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I would.
yeah. Go ahead, Colby.
Oh, I would say that. Thank you. Comedy isn't really funny because it's relatable. I would say comedy is funny because it's unexpected, and this movie does a great job of that.
Yeah, like I know I'm gonna be like on a lot of hit lists for saying this, but like Friends is bad, okay? Like it's like, sure, it's like relatable, but like it's just not funny,
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a whole lot of that comedy going around. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love this like political
For sure.
comedy. I don't know if that's, but like cultural stereotypical. It's just something about it. I don't know. It's sure it may offend some people, but that's a
Yeah.
sacrifice that that the makers of this movie have to be willing to make,
Yeah.
because it's just
Mhm.
yeah, it's just so funny.
Yeah, like just to go back to what I said earlier. Okay, I don't think Friends is bad. I don't like it. I guess I can see why some people like it, but like I just don't. I don't see my head's just not making that connection. But okay, moving on. Nick, what do you have to say?
I kind of already
Oh, you did? Okay. Sorry.
don't have much to say. To
Yeah,
really
I'm
add on.
dying right now.
So, you wanna move us on to our final ratings?
Yeah. Final ratings. I'll go first. So, for Colby, we rate these movies from a scale of 1 to 10, and we do .5s.
Alright.
We do .5s as well. Nothing beyond that. So, keep in mind here that a 5 is an average movie. So I'm gonna rate it like not like super high, but like it is still a positive review if it is above a 5. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna say it. I'm rating this a 6 out of 10. That's still very good. That's not like a 60% on a test. It's like it did what it set out to do. Like it is still good. It's still positive. I'm not just like super like overly insanely enthusiastic about this movie, and like especially with the rating scale that we're using, with like dialogue, characters and acting, plot structure, cinematography, symbolism. It just doesn't hit all of those things. So I feel like I can't really give it like as high of a rating as some of the movies we've like watched in the past few weeks, because those have been way different, and it's really hard to rate this. But I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10, and keep in mind that is still positive.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna go with a I'm gonna go with a 6.5 out of 10. I'd
Alright.
say. I'm not denying it was an absolutely hilarious movie.
Oh yes, it was.
It was like that laugh out loud type of humor. And I think one thing I would have liked to see, I've mentioned this many times, but a more like tied together plot rather than just kind of jumping around. But that's really the only thing I can take off on. It just again, not a super complex plot, but I mean, now that I'm saying this, I think I'm gonna give it a 7, just because
Alright.
a lot of these things we can't grade on a normal scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It was a very solid comedy in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Colby?
for me,
Or, okay.
honestly, my if we were judging this on a normal scale, I'd probably give this movie about like a 4. And if we were judging this based off of comedy, I'd give this like an 8 or like an 8.5. Like, I really enjoyed this movie in terms of comedy, but I'd say my final rating would be kind of like Adam's, about like a 6.
Yeah.
Just because of how kind of our ratings are set up. If like watched our videos, you'd probably know. But yeah, I'd probably give this movie a 6.
Yeah, if we were rating this movie on like I'm gonna talk for a bit more, sorry, but if like Nick said, if we were rating this movie on a comedy scale, which I will develop for the coming weeks and coming comedy movies that we will review in the future. So if we were judging it on a comedy scale, just from just pure initial thought, I would give this a 9 out of 10. This was a very good comedy movie.
Totally.
Just averaging the two. I'll give it a 6 for the scale we have now. Colby, what do you think?
All right, so I'm an outsider to this. I haven't really rated many movies. I'm quite bad at it, actually. But since this actually isn't built for comedy, right? All right.
Yeah.
I would say, can I give this an imaginary number?
Yes.
Of course. I would give this a HI. Because I can't really rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 based on just a regular movie, because this is not a regular movie. This can't be a regular movie.
Alright.
So that's my rating, 8I.
Okay. So, alright, how about you try what me and Nick did? Give
Yeah.
the different aspects a rating. Colby.
1 second, what?
Okay, give it like a comedy rating and give it like a normal.
Yeah,
movie
I would
rating.
give that a 8 out of 10.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Nick, outro.
Yes. If you didn't catch it earlier, we were watching The Dictator. It was general consensus. We all really, really enjoyed this movie. Great comedy. And yeah, next week we are doing a special Christmas episode. We will be watching Elf. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and our guest will be our friend Justin, not the Justin we had on for Pulp Fiction, a different Justin. So have fun being confused with that one. Go on, Nick.
Yeah. From all of us here at the Midnight Movie Review Studio, we totally have a studio.
A COVID-safe studio.
We say good night. So, yeah.
Night, everyone.
Good
See you
night.
next time.